Okay, sorry about that. I think my internet went out just for a minute, and then I'm back. So I don't know how much you saw, but the last thing I was doing was I was showing how the fur, when this is all said and done, which I'm going to trim on the off the nose and the body parts of the body. Um, it's gonna fill out this head quite a bit when I'm done. So I'm not as worried about getting those jowls pushed out, but it'll give them a nice teased out appearance like I wanted to. So let me get started pulling this apart. I'm going to take out all the pins. And I think the ears are too short too, but I won't know that till the fur is on, because it'll add probably half an inch to its bulk after that's on. So I'll have to adjust the ears accordingly. No wonder I didn't have any pins. They're only just a couple. I guess I can shut the window while I'm cutting this thing apart. So I get for living next to an airport. Okay. Let's just save some of that hair in case I need to make myself a toupee. All right. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the center line on this thing. And it is tough to see because I've drawn all over this, but and there's so many swatches taken out of this thing. There's still a lot of a center line here. Okay, so there's a center line. I'm also going to mark some registration marks so I know how to put it all back together. And on the lower jaw as well. Okay. All right. Here, take one last look at it because you may never see this again. Which I always tell all the students. I just basically cut it right up the center. All right. So now I got half a head, two halves of a head. All right. Get this mouth plate out. You can actually soften the glue with a hair dryer, so you can just peel stuff off like that. That's really probably the only place I'm going to do it. See how well that worked? All right. So the goal is to flatten this thing. And there's probably going to be a fair amount of darts. Start right here. And you don't have to follow any of the pieces. You're just trying to get it flat. I think it needs one probably right about here. I think it also needs one going like that. Maybe not. Okay, that flattened that out pretty well. Needs a little bit of a dart here, but not bad. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I blew my ears halfway across the room. And I discovered last night that these are the only two of this size that I still have of these this ornament. So I gotta make sure I don't lose it. I had 12 of them, so I must have used up them. I know I used it on 9 Numb and a couple other puppets, but I never thought I'd get rid of those things. Have enough, have enough projects to get rid of those things. I've had a pretty busy year. So, all right, there's that. Here's the two front mouths. I'm going to take this off too. This, well, I'm going to leave them on for now. These are going to be these upper lips are going to be made out of L200 probably, just like I do on the dogs. But okay, so I want to mirror what I did on this, more or less. Doesn't have to be exact, but similar. Okay, so I flatten out the two sides of his head. They're not exactly the same, but that's where this comes in. Okay, I got a file folder. And I'm going to put one side down on the file folder. I'm just pinning right into this board, this Plastizote board. And I did finally get some new pens, so get a blue and a red. I'm gonna trace. Well, first off, I'm gonna put the registration marks on. I'm also gonna treat a couple of these other things as registration marks. Trace around it with a blue pen. I build kind of the way I draw, which is real rough to really um, really precise. So this is kind of like the tight pencils. So I have the sketch, which is what this version is, and then the next one will be more like the tight pencils. Or it might still be a sketch. I don't know. We'll see how much I do to it to change it. Okay, so that's all marked up with the red, with the blue. And there's one side. Looks like Earl from Dinosaurs. Okay, I'm going to transfer the registration marks to the other side. And what I do is I put my thumb over it and I just draw on the back. I'm using the tip of his nose as a registration mark too. I'm gonna try and line up as many of these registration marks as I can. They won't all match up, but I'm actually getting quite a few of them too. I'm gonna have to go outside and get my glue. A lot of people ask me why and I say this every time I do it, why I do both sides instead of just picking one. It's because you want the average of the two sides when you prototype, because you never know where you get off with the center line when you're cutting it in half, and that will account for that. And also there are subtle differences in the two sides that when you look at the prototype, it subtly creates a image, whereas if you take something that is just one side and mirror it, it doesn't always look right. One of these days I will do, not this project, but one of these days I'll do one where I just do one side. Maybe I'll do both sides and then I'll average it and make a third version. And you can kind of see what I mean, maybe. All right, so that's all traced. Okay. So now I'm going to mark the average of all the registration marks. Okay. I'm going to take each of these things and I'm going to do halfway point between them both. So this point and this point, that's the halfway point. And I'm just going to trace it around. The two colors help to identify which line is which line, so you can find the center of it. And some of it's pretty close. Some of it's not quite as close. There. There. Wait. Ooh, that one and that one. That's not there. It's here. And then the halfway point of this one and this one and this one is right here. Sometimes in these difficult areas, I put dots so I kind of find my way. You also can kind of smooth stuff out if you need to. I'm going to have to open this mouth up a little bit when I do the final, or when I do the next version. Okay. All right. So now the black line is going to be my new pattern, which I'm going to cut this out now. I am broadcasting, right? If you're watching it, just drop me a line. And you can cut darts that are curved, and sometimes that's better, but I'm usually pretty lazy. I think that needs to come. That. Sorry, just looking at that registration mark. A little misleading. So I think on the final, the mouth is actually going to be more down here, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so that pattern should be all the same as this mess. So we'll see how it goes back together. I need to cut the notches first. Maybe add a few more. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. All right. Get some foam. Oh, I need to do the mouth plate too. Let me do the mouth plate real quick. So what I usually do with the mouth plate is I fold the paper in half. This may not be enough paper, but we'll see. Just enough. And then I trace one side. I'm going to mark kind of the fold. And then I want to take the other one. And I'm going to have to peel this off. And you see how far off my center line was, so that's going to be helpful. So I'm going to line up the folds. Okay, and I'm going to find the center. Oh, hey Dave, how's it going? Great. Well, I had that problem with the internet going out, so I wasn't sure if I ever came back. Okay. And that'll find my center line, and then I also want to mark the folds. And I think I'm going to mark these folds too. Okay, so there's I'm surprised his mouth is this wide. Shouldn't be any wider than what the original was. Yeah. Not sure why that happened. It seems a little wide to me, though, so I'm going to cut it down just a hair. And then deal with it. It doesn't really matter because I usually put the mouth plate in so that the foam lies in there like this, about halfway. So taking a little bit off is not going to help hurt it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that about the. So you said people who neglect the truing up process need to add the technique to their virtual toolbox. It's pretty important. I'm glad you said that. I talk about it all the time, and I always think nobody does this. It's just me, especially when I see everybody always um, doing their videos, and the first thing they say is, "You only have to pattern one half of the head because it's going to be mirrored." But it's so important to the process of making an appealing design. Because if you're just a little off, I always talk about, if you look at Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith, they had a whole special feature about how they trued up his mask. And if you look at it, his head is shaped like this, as opposed to the kind of, you know, imposing feature that Darth Vader is. It's because they had the center line off, and it made all his proportions are off. And this corrects for that sort of stuff. What's today? The 11th? 12th. Oh, it's 8, isn't it? 8. Time flies. Okay. All right. So now I got my first version of the patterns. And I'm going to transfer that to foam again and make some modifications. And then I'll do the whole process again, unless it's perfect, which it's not going to be. And once that's done, by the second time, it should be final. Unless I really mess something up, and then I have to do it all over again. But I've got to the point where it usually takes no more than 2 or 3 times of doing this. There's going to be that little lip piece too, but I won't know how to fit until I make the final head. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I'm going to mark all my notches. So just to show you, that straight cut that I made is now curved because of the curvature of the foam. So that's how, making these prototypes, you're able to figure out what your darts are very easily. Same with this one. That was a cut. That was a straight cut. I believe it was a straight cut. It may not have been. And I do think this is going to be pivoted down like this because the mouth is awfully shut. So what I'll do is I'll build this pattern. Flip it over. I'll build this piece and put it all together, and then I will cut pieces apart to modify it. But it shouldn't be the number of odd-shaped wedges that I put into the first version of it. It's going to be more refined, like a tighter sketch. What I think about it as. If you don't draw, this is a peek inside the cartoonist's process. Because it's hard. I'm still a cartoonist. Did I mention my books are on? I watched this guy's tutorials. I think it's called Create Sci-Fi. And he has this really cool way of like, oh, I got to use a straight edge. What did we see? Oh, look, there's my book. If you want to buy my book, it'll help support the channel. Should start doing that. My next book will be The Perfect French Curve. Cut out. Right, there's the two pieces. Yeah, so those notches are great, and that's how you get it lined up when you glue. You said, see how nice it is to flip the pattern over and have the notches in the exact same place. Exactly. And if there was a third pattern, the notches should line up too, because you took the averages of those two registration marks, and it puts in the easing. All right. I try to cut on the inside of the line, or as close to it as I can. I may need a new blade. I think I do. Let me try flipping it over. Yeah, I need a new blade. I cut a little too much off this lower lip, but I'm not going to worry about it, because I'm going to move the mouth anyway. That's another thing most people do. They cut on the outside of the line, and it throws the pattern off. It's not a deal killer, but it's much better to remove the line. Yeah, I'm a little sloppy, and honestly, at this rate, I'm not that concerned about it. This is, again, like a tight sketch. but I am going to try to cut that mouth out the same way on both of them so that they match. I'll show you what I mean. So I cut on the way outside on the lower, so I'm going to do the same again. And you could go, you know, if you had this pattern and you were in love with it and you didn't care if it was trued up, you could just cover that if you want to. There's no reason it wouldn't work as a puppet. The only thing is if 5 years down the road you need to build another one, you're going to have to go through this whole thing again. Instead, you could just go to the original pattern that you hopefully put in a place that you can find it and make that puppet again, at least starting with those patterns. So that's why I go to all this trouble. Okay, here's my mouth palette. And again, the corrugation is going this way because I think I'm going to use the foam core, or not foam core, the gator board mouth palette in this, so he can kind of roll his mouth around. I'm starting to use that more and more, which is funny because Kevin Muley Williams recommended that to me 25 years ago, and I always said, no, that's not what you want to use. You want to use this. But ever since I built Ralph, it's like it's kind of opened up me to a whole bunch of new techniques. I'm going to mark my center lines. I'm going to use this other persona, this different one that I had. No, I'm not. That one's dead too. So I don't know if you remember when I patterned that originally, I had a little divot there, like on a dog's mouth, but it ended up kind of getting absorbed by the process I went through yesterday. So I guess I don't need it. I think it just naturally got closed up as I progressed. It's a process, though. I kind of messed that up. The most important thing is just not to cut yourself. That's the biggest thing. Everything else is kind of happy accidents. Nothing happy accident about cutting yourself. All right. So I'm gonna kind of roll this corrugation over. Okay, that's going to be his fake mouth plate. Okay. Okay, let me clean up this area just a little bit. So what do you guys think? Or Dave, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be close to the same shape, or do you think it's going to be totally different? Not that we have anything to compare it to. Put your wagers in now. I have to go outside and get the glue. Okay, can open the window. Got the fan on already. Door so Tilly doesn't get in. All right. Here's my piece of paper from yesterday. Or maybe it's a different piece of paper. Here's a different piece of paper. Okay. So I followed BJ Geyer's tutorial on gluing this morning, and I was amazed at how much better my gluing was. So I'm going to try and do the same thing today. So after 15 years of working with him, I finally did something he told me to do. Okay. I'm going to do the darks first. I also glued it in 2 stages this morning. The other thing I was working on. I glued it in 2 stages, and that seemed to help. So I'm going to just do the darks. It also prolongs the suspense. I put glue in the wrong spot. We'll just do it again. There's one. Cut this out. Again, this isn't the final, so still kind of working down and dirty with this thing. Okay. So I want to do it all in the same order that I each time. So it's the same tension that's on the foam when you glue it. I should put a tick mark on the pattern where this dart ends, since there's no hard edge. That looks pretty good. I'll make sure I have a left and a right. I think it's going to be good. All right. There's another. This may be a little bit thinner than the original one. If so, I'm not going to worry about it because reticulated foam does hold the rounder shape a little bit better. I may have to add a little bit extra, but we'll see how it looks. And it's funny because I thought this was turning out really small, but it's almost exactly the same color and same size as the one that I made 20 years ago. So I think the fur really adds a lot of bulk to it. In fact, I know it does. I'm not going to do the mouth right yet. So I'm going to do it in 3 stages, I guess. I think you asked a question. Yeah. Whatever you do as far as cutting it out, just do it the same on both sides. Don't decide to cut it on one side of the line on the left side and one side of the line on the other side, because you'll end up with 2 different size patterns. Subtly, but it doesn't help. And I usually don't use the hair dryer on the finals, but I do it at this stage because it's only got to stay together for as long as it does. It needs to pull a pattern. Okay. So I'm going to match up each of these registration marks. Try and keep it as flat as possible. Use the dart as a registration mark. Do not stick the mouth plate where it needs to be stuck. Sorry, you can't see a darn thing. This is the part that I somehow missed when BJ would tell me, when he showed me how to do it, is the squeezing it together at the very end. Okay. Okay. Got the two mouth, that's glued. Now I'm the final one, I'm going to put a bevel on this, so I'm going to do that right now too. And the easiest way that I found to make a bevel is to flip the thing inside out. I'm also going to put a bevel on the, I'm not going to do it now because there's no reason, but when I put the neck ring in, I'm going to put a bevel on this part too. So with it like this part is actually the inside. This part here is actually the inside. So you can just go along and you can clip off the corner and it'll bevel the inside of the mouth. I'll show you what I mean. And then do the same thing on the outside. I mean, on the underside. You can do it without doing it wrong side out, but this is a lot easier if your glue holds in place. Then you just have to re-glue parts of it. All right, so now I'm going to turn it back right side out. So now the bevel's on the inside, and that gives you a flat place to glue that mouth plate in place. So the toughest thing about the mouth plate is keep it from gluing it shut with this close. You see how well I do. I'm going to put some more glue on the mouth plate too, because that was the first thing I glued and I wasn't thinking. Okay, so that's all done. And I want to put glue on the edge of it too. Again, this is stuff that I would do on the final, and I don't always do prototyping, but it'll give a better indication as to what this is going to look like when it's done. If you do all the steps. I should probably just brush it on. So I want to get the edge and about a half an inch of the top. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to match up. Okay, I'm going to match up the front center seam. Actually, I'm going to do make sure it's in the right side up. I'm going to do the back of the jaw first because it'll be a little easier. So I'm putting it in about halfway in the center of the foam. I'm going to do that all the way around. And I'm going to match up that center seam in the front. And do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, so, and then I'm going to press the edge of this against that glued edge. All right, so there's that. I think he needs more bulk right here, which I'll take care of. I said that from the beginning. Maybe a little bit off of his chin. I think if I just pull that down, it'll be pretty close. Just looking at it, admiring my work. Okay. I do like that though. Wonder if I just pull a little bit in here, if that'll give me the effect I need. I think that is. Okay, let me put on that upper lip, and we'll see. Did I save the upper lip? There's one half of it. Here's the other half. Okay, I'm going to do just like on the mouth, where I folded the piece of paper and then grab one pen. Grab the other pen. So I did this one. No, I did this one. What did I do? Yeah. I think I did this. Yeah, I did that one. I'll do this one. So that'll be this piece that goes around like this. The upper lip. Little mustache. All right, so let me make one of those. Where's my black pen? Okay. More disarming. There it is. Now I'm actually going to shape this piece. And like I said, it's going to be L200 when I'm done. But I'll shape it after it's on the actual puppet, or on the mock-up. Welcome back to my old habits. I'll put on his mustache now. It's not really a mustache, it's the upper parts of his lips. Okay, so I'm going to try and get that centered. Okay, I'm going to cut that edge off a little bit. Even as a hair lip. You know what? That might be okay. This might be the final pattern. Hooray! Okay, let me put all his features on. I'm going to work on his eyes. His ears a little bit too, I think. Not final head as in this is his head, but final pattern for his head. Okay. So here are those ears I made yesterday. And actually, they conform better than they did to the other one. Maybe I'll just use these. Let me see. No, I'll never get it on again. Okay, I don't think I'm going to actually pattern these ears just yet, because again, I won't know their actual what size I'll need until I get the fur on. But the shape seems about right. I try to give myself landmarks when I put the darts in, so that I can line them up each time. It's not as important on the skull, but on the fur or on the skin, it makes it so much easier if you have a dart to line stuff up to. Okay, so here's where we're at now. You know that I'm really happy with that head. I kind of wanted this mouth to be open a little bit more. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Hi, how's it going? Food. There we go. Yeah, see, this is what I don't like about the foam. Are you making it out of clay and then pulling a pattern? Is that I would be at this stage the first time I can actually kind of see how it works. Oh, I'm like, what do you think, Dave? And there'll be a couple plan-ons, one for the under the eyes for the bag, and then maybe a little bit of a brow ridge. But I don't need to pattern those just yet. Let's see how he compares to this one. So he's a little bit smaller, but not by much. Yeah, I like it too. What do you mean just go off cam? I'll paint those eyes up tomorrow too, so we can see them in all their black beauty. I may put teeth in them too. or at least the buck teeth. I always intended to, but there was never room in his mouth. Well, where's that fur? This will be where this fur is the longest, so I'll just put it here for now. You can see how that's gonna change the shape of his face, more like the cartoon. All right. Well, that might be the end of this broadcast. I'm gonna make the L200, the not L200, the reticulated foam one off camera, I think, so I can glue it outside. But tomorrow, I might be able to, what will I do tomorrow? I'll figure out the plan-ons tomorrow, get all those put on, and then pattern it. I mean, drape it. And then, well, yeah, I'll drape it. I can't really drape it. I'll put the neck tube on. I'll do the boning, all that internal stuff, and then maybe drape it that day. But then, all right. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. It needs to be a little bit taller, but I don't want to lose the movement I'm getting. I think what I would do, well, let's try it. Why not? I'm adventurous. There you go. Let me take off all these accoutrements. I think it's going to be pretty simple, though. I'll still repattern it, but that was almost dangerous. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut him. Cut me, Nick. Cut me. Try and do it even on both sides. And then I'm going to open that up like so and put two big wedges in there. Let's try it. And if it doesn't work, I know that this pattern that I have right now works. So I'm just trying to figure this out. So about an inch in the middle. About 5 inches on that side. It's about 6 inches on the other. Okay, let's try that. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'll true it up when I repattern it. It turns out to be the solution. But it was something that was bothering me the whole time. So. Oh, hi, Elaine. Thank you. That's where it gets dangerous. Maybe I'm not do that. Okay, let's try that. I'll tell you the real reason I liked the original version of it, the version I just made, was that I wouldn't need to put a mouth grip in there because it's so tight in there. It would have been great. But I agree, it's a little off model. But again, the fur is going to add some stuff to it. So. Ah. Sorry, I'm trying to do this on camera, but I'm also trying not to have it stick to each other. Like a sketchy. And if I ruin this, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a prototype. It's better to ruin these iterations than it is to make a whole puppet and I'm like, I hate it. Okay. That's exactly how I'd sound too. Yeah, I hate it. Center line there. You know what? I think that fixed it. Changes the shape of his nose, but that doesn't matter. Just a second. I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol. I guess that's not going to take it off the foam. Well, now it just looks like shading. Never mind. Okay, let's get those eyes back on. You know what? This completely helped this. I think it's going to work. Because of these lines, I know pretty much how to put the ears on. I'm not as worried about the ears. I just want the full effect. Well, there are things that sometimes for the function of the puppet you have to deal with to compensate for. Oh my gosh, that totally helps it. Yeah. Okay. Good. So I can make that a. I don't even have to repattern this whole thing. I think I can just slit it and add some material and fix it. Well, I should probably do it. I'll do it the right way, but I'll do it at another time. Okay, let's see what you had to say. Very true. That's why I took a chance and said something about the snout. A lot of people don't take critiques very well, and just want agreement. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, honestly, I was pretty happy with the original head, but I like this better. Another valuable tool that you did that people don't think of is when making a new center line is to either use a different color pin or a longer line to let you know which line is the new line. Yeah, and I didn't do that. I had just the black pin sitting around. I really should have put that line on the inside. to make it a little less noticeable, but it's okay. Bags there. Also, this gives me enough room for his bags. Oh, my bags are. Okay. Yeah. Again, I wish he wasn't so washed out. I'm not trying to match this, but it is a good reference to have. I like the angle of the ears. The ears go back at about a 45-degree angle, which I want. I like that the snout is so mobile because this one is definitely not. It's like a big solid lump, especially now that the mouth palate doesn't work. Oh, what's this? Here's the mouth grip. I didn't even know this thing had a mouth grip. Yeah, see, the whole head just moves. There's nothing you can do about it either. Ouch. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, I'm not going to take this apart and do this all again on camera, but that's what I'm going to do off camera. I like the way that this mouth looks in the front with this slope that you get. And I am using the mouth plate as a little bit of structure. And I may have to make the lower lip just a hair smaller. Maybe not. I just want to make sure it can fit under there. Anyway. Hold up to the drawing. This drawing? Yeah, that's pretty close. I'm expecting it to turn its head. Yeah. Cool. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you again. We'll put the fur on it. Yeah, I think that's gonna look pretty good. And I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna trim it all in this area here and around. It's just gonna use a little bit longer fur here and up here, and then down his at the cuffs, kind of taper out to that, and then I'm just gonna shave the rest of this thing. So anyway, this is a picture of it. Alrighty. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time. And I'll have a reticulated foam head to start with. Or maybe I'll put it together on for camera. I'll at least get the camera. That's what I'll do. Is I'll get the pattern fixed, and then I'll put together the reticulated foam head tomorrow. So I will see you tomorrow. All right, bye.